The most dangerous people don't carry weapons, they carry words. They don't attack you with fists, they attack with questions. Casual, innocent, disarming. But behind those words are traps designed to make you doubt yourself, hand over your power, and lose control of your life without even realizing it. Stoic wisdom teaches us to guard the mind because every manipulation starts with an opening. A single moment where you let your guard down because the question sounded friendly. But trust this, the wrong question from the wrong person at the wrong time can destroy everything you've built. So in this video, I'll expose 5 subtle questions that manipulators, narcissists, and fake friends use to test you, bait you, and trap you. Questions that sound harmless until you realize you've been played. And if you don't learn to spot them now, you'll learn the hard way later. Let's begin. Number 1. Can I tell you a secret? At first, it feels like trust, like you're being welcomed into a sacred circle of confidence. But look again. This isn't about connection. It's about collusion. This is the voice of a gossiper, a manipulator in disguise. They're not just testing your loyalty. They're conditioning you to be like them, to carry secrets that aren't yours, to get used to speaking behind backs instead of facing truth. And you think it's just a one-time thing. But Stoic philosophy teaches us that habits shape the soul, and gossip is a disease of the soul. Seneca warned, "He who indulges in empty chatter loses control of his own soul." When someone invites you into their gossip, they're not giving you trust, they're giving you corruption. Today it's someone else's secret. Tomorrow it's yours. Gossipers are not allies. They're opportunists. If they're betraying someone to you, they will betray you to someone else. Never trust the man who lives off secrets, because he has none of his own worth protecting. Even worse is how slowly it all starts. Those few words of praise, that one harmless fact about someone who isn't there, that person who laughs at someone else's mistake. Then it takes place again, once more. Then all of a sudden you're a player, a deadly bottle that was never meant to be yours. This is how character slowly breaks down, not through dramatic deception, but through quiet agreement. It was Marcus Aurelius who said, "The soul is colored by its thoughts." No, that's not art. This is a warning. That's what you become if you constantly let betrayal, smallness, and drama into your thoughts. What you let in is what you take in. People who let others use them as a safe for their secrets lose their own peace of mind in the long run. But the Stoics didn't just say not to talk because it's wrong. They told you not to do it because it makes you weak. It makes you less clear, less focused, and weak. Epictetus said, "If bad things are said about you and they are true, change yourself. Laugh at it if it's a lie." But when a man is full of rumors, he can't even tell the difference between truth and lies. There is a lot of noise in his mind. Too many people have lied to him before that he doesn't know who to trust. That's what it costs to listen to these little hints. You stop being able to tell the difference between earnestness and manipulation. You start to feel scared. Be careful. You start to think, if they told me that about someone else, what does that mean about me? The answer is easy. They told someone else the same thing they told you. It's not okay to say, "Don't tell anyone." That phrase is used by people who hide their identity, who loves attention but is afraid of being seen. They want to use, not build. They don't want to connect with you. They want to use you. Don't get it wrong. They are always watching. They watch your eyes when they bring you a secret, how you stand, your smile. It's being used to figure out how much you like the knowledge. If you ask for more, if you add fuel to the fire, if you do, they are aware that they have gained a new ship, a new soldier in their war of shame. This is not what the Stoic way is about. It's the way to keep things safe inside, of being quiet, of being still. You watch what you say like a fighter watches his sword. You only talk when it's necessary, not when it's fun. When you have the power to help someone, why put it off? Asked Marcus Aurelius. It works the other way too. If your words can hurt someone, why make them public? Knowing everything about everyone is not a good thing. Being the first to hear bad news doesn't make you stronger. The Stoic doesn't get power from keeping secrets. They get power from not keeping them. It gets even worse than this, though. The person who said something in your ear today? What you do with that secret is being watched. Are you going to slip? Are you going to spread it? Will you store it and let it leak in the end? They won't take the blame when you do. They'll look shocked, offended, not guilty. That's the trick. They made the fire. You get hurt. When someone asks, "Can I tell you something, but don't tell anyone else?" with their eyes narrowing and voice low, pause. Not because you're interested, but because your morals are being put to the test. Your ears are a wall. Who you are is shaped by what you let in. Associate with those who will make you a better man, Seneca says. It doesn't make you sharper when someone gossips, lies, or tries to control you. It makes you softer. They make you loosen up on your morals. Feel free with your character, joining them in being afraid. Don't let someone else's trouble rent out your honor. This is also true for the way you talk. Don't tell anyone, but should not be something you say. That's how weak people talk, of not being safe. Someone who needs social cash to feel important. When a Stoic wants to be important, it's not what he knows about other people that matters, but what he knows about himself. And this is what makes a Stoic man different. He hears something interesting, but he doesn't act on it. He senses that treason is coming and leaves. It would help him get more attention to spread a story, but he'd rather lose friends than lose peace. Peace is more than just a feeling. This is a field. Also, talk breaks down discipline. When someone says, "Can I tell you something, but don't tell anyone else?" what do? You make a face. You look them in the eye. If it's not yours to share, it's not mine to hear, you say. That one sentence, it makes you different from 90% of guys. Because 9 out of 10 people will listen, 90% will nod. 90% of them will become cowardist people for other people. That's not what the Stoic needs, though. He isn't interested in lies. He doesn't take on other people's sins. He walks with ease, in quiet, with power. Let other people handle the trouble. You are in charge of punishment. Number 2, why are you still single? Sounds innocent, doesn't it? Maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's just curiosity. But behind this question is a dagger, and it's aimed at your self-worth. They're not really asking about your relationship status. They're testing your confidence. They want to see if you flinch, if you stutter, if you feel the need to justify your solitude. This is psychological warfare in casual disguise. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. This question plants opinions, that you're incomplete, that your peace is suspicious, that your standards are too high. But here's the truth. Solitude isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. You are not a puzzle missing a piece. You're a whole fortress. Anyone who questions why you haven't surrendered your peace to companionship doesn't understand its value, and worse, they may want to weaken it. Trust the person who respects your solitude, not the one who pokes holes in it. Because they don't understand that being alone is not the same as being lonely. It makes sense. It's where a man builds himself up without any other things getting in the way. The man who is happy being by himself has done the hard work. He has thought about his worries, his wants, and his urges. He has fought the dragons inside himself. And if someone asks you offhandedly, "Why are you still single?" they're telling you that they never did. This question is both a test and a joke. You hear it a lot from people who can't sit still for 5 minutes without feeling like they don't matter. From people who decide how valuable they are by how many ties they have, by how many people are around their emptiness to keep them from facing it. But a Stoic man isn't going around anything. He stands his ground, not moved. Stoicism was started by Zeno of Citium, who said that happiness is a good flow of life, not a partner. It's not validation, not okaying it, but a life that is in line with nature, reason, and morality. There is peace, discipline, and power in being alone, so your life is full, even if no one else sleeps in your bed. As for those who ask, the truth is that many people are in relationships not because they're strong, but because they're afraid of being alone. And those fears spread out like fire smoke. They really mean, how can you live so freely when I chain myself out of fear? When they ask you, why are you still single? It isn't always evil. Sometimes it's just confusion. Envy can happen. Sometimes slight manipulation is done by saying something is just teasing. Even so, there is pressure behind that mask. Pressure from others. Pressure from culture. The idea that being chosen makes you more valuable. They know that your worth doesn't depend on who chooses you, but on what you choose to guard. And you should protect your alone time. It was said by Seneca, the biggest thing that keeps people from living is hope, which hangs on to tomorrow and loses today. People expect you to live in anticipation when you're single, to wait for love, for someone to finish the picture. You won't wait though. You are picking. You're alive now. Do not wait for someone to come along and give your life direction. This is something that people today don't get. It doesn't reward principle, only results. It tells men that they're not fully male until they have a relationship. So if they're single, they're missing out on something. That's not strength though. That's dependence dressed up as love. A man with character or logos knows better. He knows that if you say things like, "I just haven't found the right person," or "I've been focusing on myself lately," you're giving in to their power. You are telling them about your life and asking them to decide if your answer is good enough. You don't have to explain that to anyone. You don't have to say why your house is the only one on the hill. The person making fun of it doesn't know what it takes to build a fortress by hand. Your calm is the better answer. You're quiet. You didn't say sorry. Because you don't need praise from other people when you have inner order. And if you have to talk, be a Stoic. Say, because I have high standards and more peace. That one line shuts them up, because it shows something that most people are afraid to say. Most relationships aren't based on love, they're based on fear. Fear of being by yourself. Fear of being looked down upon. Fear that you aren't good enough by yourself. But a Stoic man is enough. He's not looking for a partner to get away from himself. He wants to improve what he already has. And if that doesn't show up yet, he waits, not nervously but on purpose. Remember that a man who asks you about your silence probably couldn't handle it himself. He might make fun of you, he might laugh, he might push. He thinks to himself, how do you walk alone without breaking? It's easy, because being alone has made you stronger. Because you've built yourself up in quiet. Because you don't take your worth, you earn it. It was Epictetus who said, freedom is the only good goal in life. We win by ignoring things that are out of our control. And we can't always control relationships, true, long-lasting, honest connections. We can't make them come by force. We can't make their depth happen. We'll wait. We keep the garden safe. We take care of our standards. And when the right person comes, we'll already be whole. You don't trust the man who jumps into every relationship too quickly. You don't trust the man who makes fun of being alone. The person who can stand still without shaking is someone you can trust. Who can spend years alone and not get lost. Not because he's alone, but because he's not afraid to be. That man is scary. If someone asks you, "Why are you still single?" follow these steps. Do not move. Don't say anything. Do not sing. Make a face. Take deep breaths. Let the silence speak for you. It wouldn't be love if you had to give up your strength to make someone happy. That would be surrender. And Stoics don't give up when the world is scary. They get rid of them. Number 3. Do you know who I am? The moment you hear this, run. This is not a question, it's a declaration of war from the ego. This line is always spoken by someone who feels their power slipping. A man truly in control never announces his authority. Just like a lion doesn't roar to prove he's dangerous, he just is. But people who say, "Do you know who I am?" are not strong. They're scared. Scared you're not intimidated. Scared they don't matter. Scared they're invisible without their title. Epictetus taught that you are not your position, but your character. And that is exactly what this question tries to mask, a lack of character. The moment someone relies on their resume, their reputation, or their recognition to force respect, they're revealing weakness, not strength. You don't need to fear this question. You just need to see it for what it is, an announcement of insecurity. Never trust someone who demands respect, because they've already lost the ability to earn it. Power has nothing to do with this question. It comes from being scared. It sounds like someone is trying to cash in on their past because they don't have anything good to offer in the present. The Stoic knows that real power never comes out. It does something. It stays calm while others scream. It stays steady while others shake. In his book Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, who was ruler of Rome, said, "Don't waste time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Do you know who I am? He never had to ask. Just being there told them. His calmness when things got tough, his hard work, how he held back. Not the cap on his head, but that showed how powerful he was. The base is less strong when the ego is loud. Someone who says, "Do you know who I am?" is in a lot of pain, needs to be recognized badly, need to control the story badly. He wants you to bow, not because you should, but because it makes him feel big. That's not being a boss. That's being scared in a suit. Please treat me better than I deserve, because I don't know how to earn it anymore. That's what he really means. People often use this line when they are angry, at eating places, on planes, when we meet, in places where people feel entitled and people fight back. People try to use their identity as a tool when they can't get what they want like everyone else. "Do you know who I am?" means, give me what I want or else. But a Stoic man doesn't need to tell everyone who he is. This is what his discipline does. That's what his calm does. What he does that. What if they don't? It's okay for people to think less of him, because the Stoic wants to know the truth, not get praise. It is great to know the season for speech and the season for silence, Seneca said one time. The person who yells about his status doesn't know when to say something. Force is what he thinks will get attention. You can't force respect, though. It needs to be built. Think about the people you really look up to, the ones who make people look up to them when they walk in. Do they yell? Do they take pride? Do they list their successes like a house on fire? Not at all. They pay attention. They look around. They only speak up when it's necessary, never to make themselves look better. The man who asks, "Do you know who I am?" is telling you something sad. He ties his whole identity to something other than himself. A title, a prize, a number of followers, a sum in the bank. And when any of them falls, he freaks out because it means his sense of self-worth falls too. What makes a Stoic man who he is what can't be taken away. Morals and rules. The verdict, smarts. He is recognized even though he doesn't have a job title. For him to feel real, he doesn't need praise. He's strong whether the world knows it or not. And this is where the danger of this question lies. You've given up your honor for status if you give in to it, if you bow down to someone just because they are powerful or famous. It's more important who someone is than what they do. You just told yourself. That's how rulers are made. This is how graft gets around. That's how your own standards start to fall apart. People are treated based on what they have instead of who they are. Over time, you also lose the ability to tell real power from fake. Since now, being strong seems like a sign of success. Lack of content. Stoicism, on the other hand, was never struck by fame. It was moved by self-control. Herodotus used to be a slave and then became a teacher. Marcus Aurelius lived like a monk even though he was crown prince. They all taught the same thing. Don't be what other people call you. You are how you deal with the world. When someone asks you, "Do you know who I am?" in a cocky way, don't back down. Don't say sorry right away. Like a fool, don't start making a list of their qualifications in your head. A better question to ask yourself is, do I see good in this person? Names don't mean anything if the answer is no. You do not need to fight. You don't need to answer. You should just not be surprised. Let them yell, let them stand up. As a child would slam his toys on the table, let them throw their weight around. The really dangerous man doesn't have to show anything. He knows what he's doing. The room doesn't need to know it either. When you stand still in the face of bravado, you show them how scared they are. You show them how empty they are. They will either run away in shame or blow up in anger. You were right not to trust them because of both of these things. So keep this in mind. Power that really moves doesn't make noise. You can't beg to be seen with real confidence. Also, real guys don't ask, "Do you know who I am?" since they're too busy being themselves. Number 4. Are you sure that's a good idea? This one is tricky because it sounds helpful, like concern, like someone looking out for you. But look closer. Sometimes this question isn't about you at all. It's about them, their fears, their insecurities, their regrets. And when they see you doing something bold, starting a business, ending a toxic relationship, pursuing a dream, they can't handle it. So they question it. Seneca warned us, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. People who haven't dared to break free will always find your freedom uncomfortable. So they'll frame it as concern. They'll plant doubt, not because your idea is dangerous, but because your courage is. There's a huge difference between wise advice and insecure interference. Learn to separate the two. Are you sure that's a good idea? Isn't always meant to be mean. A lot of the time, it comes with care. It sounds like someone is defending the bad guy. However, a lot of people wear doubt like perfume. They're used to it that they don't even notice how heavy it smells. And when you walk into a room with confidence, your clarity makes them afraid to be confused. People who put safety over meaning often whisper this question. People who gave up before they even tried. They are now uncomfortable as they watch you choose the way they left behind. Not because you're wrong. They don't like you because you make them think of what they could have been. This is something a Stoic knows. Epictetus said, if you want to get better, be happy with being seen as stupid and foolish. If you set goals that are higher than what other people think you can reach, they will try to bring you down. They don't hate you. They just don't like how your desire makes them feel. Their excuses don't work with your idea. and your progress makes them fall behind. When they ask, "Are you sure? Please stay like me," is what they often say. Don't show that more is possible, please. Please don't grow so big that I feel small. That's why you need to learn how to be smart and wise. Being able to tell the difference between advice and fear projection is called discernment. It's also one of the best traits a Stoic man can have, because a weak person hears doubt and falls apart, but a strong person looks into it. He asks, "Is this fear yours or mine?" Marcus Aurelius said, "What stops people from acting moves them to act. What gets in the way turns into the way." If someone questions your plan, that's not a sign to run away. It's a test how sure you are that you are right, about how much noise you can skip, of whether you fit in with the group or with yourself. To be clear, this isn't about not listening to any suggestions. Wisdom hears. Arrogance keeps people out. Strength, on the other hand, knows where advice is coming from. A man who has made something, been through pain, and succeeded, he has earned the right to ask you questions. But what about the man who never tried and is still where he was 5 years ago? You have no reason to be afraid of that man. A lot of people write memoirs instead of giving advice. They see your future through the lens of their past. They failed, so you will too. You will be hurt because they were. They made peace, so you should too. But Stoicism says not to take on other people's stories. You have to write your own. The truth is that no one will ever fully understand your path. They were not meant to have it. Your ideas are made just for you, your mind, your struggles, and your soul. Once you ask everyone for permission to go after them, you've already made them weaker. Seneca said it again, "Be around people who will make you better, not the people who put out your fire with cold water because they're too scared to start their own." How would you answer this kind of question? Not when you're mad. Not in a proud way. With peace. Without a doubt. That kind of quiet power can only come from being clear. "Yes, I'm sure," you say. "It would be better for me to fail on my feet than to spend my whole life on my knees in pain." Because this is what Stoic courage is all about. Acting on your principles instead of being careless. The kind of behavior that doesn't want praise or fear being criticized. And in this noisy world full of spectators and thinkers who don't do anything, the man who acts from the heart is scary. It's not because he's careless, but because he can't be moved. Let them have doubts. Allow them to dream. They should hide their fear and questions and act like they care. But you keep going, you build. Thoughts, you check. You're brave. People don't remember the man who hesitated his way to being average. They remember the person who heard the questions, did what they thought, and jumped anyway. What if it doesn't work? You get bigger. If it works, you show that every rumor is false. When someone asks, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" you don't have to argue with them. Show them what not to do. Show proof with your life. Number 5, can I borrow some money? Now let's be clear. Not every person who asks this is toxic, but the ones who ask it without boundaries, without responsibility, and without shame, they're telling you everything you need to know. Money isn't just currency, it's energy. And when someone asks for yours without earning your respect, they're not asking for help. They're asking for control. They want to tie you to their failures, guilt-trip you into funding their lifestyle, or drag you into chaos that isn't yours. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? And that applies here. Is this request necessary? Is it fair? Is it aligned with your values? Real friends won't pressure you. Real allies won't make you feel bad for saying no. But the wrong people will use money as a test of loyalty and punish you when you fail it. Don't fall for it. Financial boundaries are emotional boundaries, and the moment someone crosses them with entitlement instead of humility, trust is broken. Asking someone, "Can I borrow some money?" is one of the fastest ways to get to know them. Because you're not just being asked for help at that time, you are being watched. What do they want to know? How soft are your edges? How deep do they have to dig into your pocket before you say enough? Stoics don't feel bad when they say yes. To be clear, he says yes. He says no for the same reason every time. Seneca warned about this very trap when he said, "He who gives quickly gives twice as much. But someone who gives in a hurry loses both their money and their peace of mind." That's the risk. When you feel like you have to give, when generosity is required, and when kindness is a duty, that's when you lose your peace. You become stuck because of someone else's bad choices. Let's not avoid the truth. Some people think that being kind is a sign of weakness in you. People stop accepting your yes once they know you won't say no. They get hooked on your help. Even worse, they get angry when you stand up for yourself. However, the Stoic man knows that money is only a tool. It can make bands or bridges. Why and to whom it is given make all the difference. Here are some things to think about before you open your wallet. Does this person know how to handle their own money? Do they often ask for things without ever giving anything back? Do they thank you or make you feel bad when you hesitate? Will this gift help you grow, or will it make you more dependent? It's not selfish to say no if the replies don't match your values. It's smart. Stoics were never against being kind. For real, Marcus Aurelius gave away a lot of his own money, but he did it on purpose, not to make her feel bad. You can turn down someone you love. You can be kind and have limits at the same time. You can be helpful and keep your cool at the same time. There is a spiritual problem as well as a financial problem with giving money to the wrong person. Because things change when money comes into a relationship. Power starts to show up. People's hopes rise. It can lead to anger if you're not careful. All of a sudden, your friendship turns into a deal. Your silence means you agree. Your doubt turns into betrayal. They'll say things like, "I thought we were close," or "I'd help you, you know." But keep this in mind. Real dedication doesn't ask you to give up anything. It accepts what you choose. A Stoic doesn't just look out for his own mind. He also looks out for his possessions, as he knows each coin he gives is a choice for how someone else should act. And letting confusion happen is not compassionate. It's being a coward. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life, Epictetus says. We win by ignoring things that are out of our control. The way someone treats a loan is the only thing you can't change. You can't keep the money once it leaves your hand. But what about the stress? What did they expect? Why the anger? Those usually stay. Rule: don't give what you can't afford to lose. This is why many Stoics and other wise men throughout history say this. Even stronger, don't lend money to people who make you feel bad for keeping the peace. The person who says, "I only need it for a few days," then disappears for months, he's not a friend. He can't be trusted. The person who always says, "Come on, you know I'm good for it," but you've never seen him pay anyone back, that's not trust. That's a lie. The man who tells you, "You're the only one I can ask," but won't change his ways or take charge of his life, that's not a defense. That person is sneaky and knows when to act. The most dangerous one is this one. The man who is mad when you say no. Just because he's not upset, he is now known. He believed you would give up. He thought that your fear of being judged was greater than your pride. He thought you'd pick peace over telling the truth. You didn't, though, and now you've broken the myth. Okay, let them get mad. Let them be sad. Allow them to leave. Because a relationship that depends on you giving money was never really a relationship. It was just a contract you never signed. Guys don't buy their friends presents. Peace is not his rent. It doesn't cost him anything to get along with someone. He does the right thing instead of what is asked of him. But when confidence is put to the test, he doesn't break. He explains. If someone asks you for money, you should ask yourself, does this person make you feel better or worse? Are they responsible, or do they make excuses? Are they asking for a way out or an improvement in their way of life that will cost you? Remember that debt that isn't money is the most dangerous kind. It makes you feel. You are stuck with someone who won't grow because of an unspoken deal of guilt. Make the line. Tell the truth. Say no in a cool, clear, and direct way. Because you're not just protecting your wallet when you watch out for your money. You're telling people that you won't sell your energy, happiness, or purpose. And that much strength? That is worth a lot. There are no bright red lights in real life to warn you. It asks you questions to warn you. And if you don't pay close attention, you'll get stuck in situations that make you feel bad about yourself and drain your soul. Not only did the Stoics teach resilience, they also lived by it. In order to protect your energy, you must also protect your group. And the first step is to learn how to read the quiet warning signs of danger. When someone asks, "Let me tell you a secret. Why aren't you with someone else? Do you know who I am? Are you sure that's a good idea? May I borrow some money?" Do more than just answer. Look at. Pay attention. If you need to, leave. The wise man doesn't worry about betrayal because he knows it's going to happen. Keep your mind sharp. Do not give up. Stay out of reach. Video to be helpful. Please make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on other insightful videos like this one. It is important to keep in mind that the keys to leading a life that commands respect without ever having to demand it are to have peace, self-respect, and mastery over your emotions. You are not broken by disrespect. It exposes who they are, and it provides you with the potential to develop into something more significant. You are not a screamer. You undergo a change. And as a result of that metamorphosis, those individuals who attempted to bring you down are compelled to look up. Not at someone who battled back with words, but rather at someone who outgrew the urge to fight. Permit them to experience it. It is not through anger. As a result of evolution,